Venki Pola is the co-founder and CTO of OneShot.ai, recently spotlighted by Forbes for launching Execution OS, a platform that orchestrates AI agents and human experts to drive B2B sales prospecting outcomes. Previously, he joined Salesforce through its acquisition of DimDim and spent a decade architecting products like Chatter, Lightning Bolt, and Commerce Cloud. Beyond tech, Venki is also a speaker, writer, dancer, and trader. Welcome to the podcast, Venki. It's great to have you here today.
Thanks for having Sophie.
Thank you. So you have a really inspiring story as a founder, an immigrant, somebody building a company with AI agents. Tell us a little bit about your story and how you got started.
Yeah, sure. When I started, I moved to Bay Area in 2014, right after my previous company got acquired by Salesforce. Went here, built my career, grew up in the ladder in Salesforce. I always had this itch in the heart, what do you want to do? It seemed like because I was born and brought up in startup, and then went to Salesforce, grew up. I always have that itch, like building something foundational, making impact. I always was finding a reason not to do it. Sometimes you just married, you have one kid, you have another kid, and you bought the house. There's always a reason to delay the things.
Right.
But then what happened is I lost my dad, and my wife lost her mom 5 years back. I felt like life was so fragile, and if you want to do something, just go do it. Because I was seeing like what my dad wanted to do it, but she couldn't do it, and so that's really changed the perspective of what I really.
I had something similar after my dad passed away. It reminded me how fragile life is, and that was one of the things that inspired me to start Alcorn Immigration Law. So, the parents' early passing makes one think about life, the meaning of life. Purpose, time good left or not, right? Wow. Yeah. So it had been something that you had been thinking about and dreaming about for a long time.
Yeah. So, I always feel, you have the idea, it will always sit in your brain, but you need some water, you need some soil to start it growing. Mm-hmm. You need some triggering point to push you. But I would say that tragic incident, family, both ones, they were 15 days apart. And then that was like, I was for 1 year, I was questioning everything, to be honest. I was, why it only happens for certain people. I was questioning everything in the universe, to be honest.
Right.
Then from that remorse, whatever that morning, then I came back. It's stronger. Screw it. Whatever happens, what is the worst can happen in my life? I have already lost. Good.
Right.
Exactly. Screw it. So let's start it. So then I rooting myself, whatever is the idea that I have, started looking into it. And I was an immigrant, an H-1B. There's so many. It's not just an idea, starting a company. And I also need to work out the immigration perspective. How do I do it?
Because when you go into entrepreneurship as an immigrant, it's not just, do I have enough money to pay the bills if this doesn't work out? It's, what's my job? What's my immigration status? Is this company, and how do I make sure that my life is stable? Because that's why you were married and you have multiple kids as well.
Yeah, I have two boys. When I was actually doing this, I have two boys, younger boys, like 2 years old, 4 years old. It's a pretty,
Wow. This was around what year that you decided to start your company?
So I quit Salesforce in 2023 and doing this. But I was kind of having this idea to start this well before, but I need to sort out my immigration and other stuff before
I see. So you spend many years doing the preparatory immigration process so that you would be fully independent, so you could go for your startup with peace of mind. So how did you navigate the immigration process?
So I did it at H-1B. I met my co-founder who is based in UK, and we both started, and then somehow I transferred my Salesforce H-1B to my own startup. I was like, is it going to be possible or not? As an immigration,
That's so cool. You're living proof. Okay, everybody listening, I can tell you this all day long, but here's an actual person who's willing to say they transferred their H-1B to their startup. It did happen. That's amazing.
It did happen. I was like, seriously? Okay, cool. That was good. Yeah, but there's that time it was a little bit harder, but now I think now the rules
I
have
think it's
changed.
even easier now.
It become easier.
We get them approved for bootstrapping founders who own 100% of their company, solo founders. So it's even easier now. Yeah.
I would say almost every immigrant who want to start a company, they have, when you want to start a business, what idea that you wanted to solve for, how do I raise funding? How do I get my initial customers? How do I scale it? What is my competition? There's a real hardcore meat in it. You have to do it. But then there is this extra baggage on your head. Yeah. Can I even stay in the United States by doing this, right? Can I even solve this thing? That luckily those who born and brought up here, they don't have that baggage. And this actually takes the same hit as the way you wanted to build the business, right? I've been to that. I've been to that hurdle phase. Luckily, it worked out. You know what I felt?
But after you navigated that, the startup was easy.
It was not. It was easy. It was like, yeah, it's another missile that you want to.
Wow. So okay, so you transferred your H-1B to your startup, and then what did you do after that?
So I transferred my H-1B to startup. Then I quit Salesforce, activated it, started working on it, and then also worked on my EB1A profile. Started building my profile. We raised funds, and I got a couple of patents while I was in Salesforce. I approved, and I was a conference speaker. I started building profile more, and then applied the EB1A. Luckily, it actually worked out. It approved the EB1A. Now I'm in the process of adjustment of status and other good stuff.
Amazing. How did that feel when you got your EB1A approval?
Oh man, I can be more aggressive now.
Oh
yeah, there's nothing. It's the thing that you always holds you back is the baggage that comes with you, right? Let's say if I wanted to, I have a crazy idea that I want to do. I know it's gonna change the ecosystem name of the game, but sometimes I may want to work without pay. I want to work without pay. Like with H1B, you cannot. You have to run the payroll, and you have to run the payroll of certain amount. And otherwise, this doesn't work. There's always that ecosystem. There's so many constraints. Right. But as you know, with any business, you start with nothing. I actually took a huge pay cut what I used to make at Salesforce tomorrow, right? Yeah. So that's which is a huge baggage is gone.
Wow. So you could finally just like go for it and take the risks and do whatever.
So, do whatever. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, exciting. So how did that journey overlay with your startup journey? Because you also mentioned to me when we were chatting about how many founders initially start with a solution. So tell me about how you had to iterate to figure out what your company would do, what ideas you started with, and how maybe the more conservative ideas interplayed with your immigration status, and then post EB1, what that frees you up to do in your startup now.
Yeah, cool. So, I mean, it's quite common for most tech founders, especially because they're always in the build mode, solve mode, and what's possible that you could do with the technology. It's sometimes because the tech evolves so quickly. What you can do like 3 years, 4 years back with the ML, AI, now the ChatGPT, LLM started, now the agentic space. Now there's a multi-agent, the AGI. It's actually going at the rapid space, right? Mm-hmm. You start as a builder, you start thinking that, the platform can do this more, that more, right? Mm-hmm. So sometimes unknowingly you go into this build mode, solution mode, and then look for the problem for this solution. Mm-hmm. It's almost other way, right? Like you identify the problem, and this is my technology was actually backing this. Solving this problem. Now, hey, Mr. Customer, I'm solving this. Why don't you pay me the money?
Yeah, so that's somebody with a startup that every time I see them, they're like, "Oh, well, I'm doing this thing for service professional sales. Oh, I'm doing a thing for education, for teaching," and they have an amazing technology, but it's in it's in search of a solution or in search of a problem. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. I would say. My shift has changed a lot. Discovery, customer discovery, market research. So like I felt like I used to joke with my wife that whatever I have done for 15, 13 years, like 90% of that what I've done has become like 10% of what I'm doing right now. Now remaining 90% is figuring out the market, what is the problem that you want to solve, how do you convey to the customer, how do you go to market, and how do you tell the bigger vision to the VCs to raise more funds. There's a whole spectrum of things that you do which you have never done in your life there.
How interesting. But that 13 years of expertise at the extraordinary ability level is absolutely necessary. And maybe since you are such an expert, it can be shrunk to 10% of your role now because you could do it in your sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that foundation for you to go to the next level? So tell us a little bit about the startup. So OneShot.ai. To our listeners, what does it do? Who does it help? What's the problem it's solving?
So OneShot.ai, we are a marketplace that comprised of agents, AI agents, and the humans. They work together and drive the business outcomes for your business, especially in the sales prospecting. Think of it like you have a business, you wanted to get the new customers. We are the ones help to bring those potential prospects for your business. So how do we do it? We have agents to find the potential prospects for your business and does the research on those prospects, does the research on your product and services. We research on your competitive, how you should position your product to your customers. And then we also have the humans who actually perform some of the things like making the cold calls and let's say doing some video marketing. So we have agents and humans bring together for your business, and they basically represent your company to your prospects, and eventually when they are interested, you book a meeting with your market potential customer.
Wow. So this is all pretty instant then with the technology that you've built, right? So it might take some time for the human person to do those calls, but this whole process is probably very quick to get the company representative booked meetings, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I see the agentic space, it's evolving so much. If you see, I was actually reading a report like 18 months back, whatever a human can do for 2 minutes or 3 minutes can be done by AI, probably in fraction of seconds, or maybe I would say order of magnitude is so less. Now, 6 months later, an hour worth of humans work can be done by AI. Now we are in this space like multiple hours. So it's going, whatever the mundane task that you are doing across anything, whether it's a personal, whether it's a professional, agents can come, and it's not just one agent, it's basically multiple agents orchestrating all these agents, doing some tasks with the more reinforcement learning, and basically removing that the things that humans don't like to do, we remove it. And then what is the most things that humans love to do, and we deploy. It's not like completely replacing the humans. It's not like AI can do the magic. I would say there's a big expectation mismatch with the economic bias out there. I would say as a vendor, it's a responsibility to kind of clearly tell what is AI can do, what is a human can do, and how we are bringing both together to drive the business outcomes for you.
So yeah, what are you seeing there? What are the things that AI is great at that people don't like? And then where are the areas where humans love it and continue to excel?
Yeah. So anything, let's say if you want to scroll through different websites, summarize it, gather that information, especially for sales and marketing, it's very, very important because they have like list of companies to prospect for their business, right? Yeah. Or maybe they can go to LinkedIn and then say, hey, look, for my product, this industry has thousands of companies. I want to see what is the best company that I should reach out. So typically they used to deploy this human hire SDR and just give them, why don't you go to these 100 websites and daily go, open the website, scroll the pages, look for something that's relevant. And when you are trying to do that over a period of time, like 10 companies, 20 companies, your brain becomes so numb. It becomes so dizzy, right? And that's I don't think we should deploy. That's not the bench for humans. So we take that and then do with the AI agents. Now what we say is that, hey, Mr. Human, this is what you should reach out to Sophie. And this is the reason why you should reach out. and their firm is actually doing these activities which gets benefited with your product and service. Why don't you have a conversation with Sophie? That's a better use of human rather than finding Sophie. Why should you choose Sophie? So that's why we kind of differentiate. And let's say if you get a AI agent directly call you, would you respond? Would you respond? I mean, agent is talking to an AI.
I hang up on AI all the time.
All the time,
I'm
exactly.
getting so many AI spam calls now. And
Yeah.
I'm like hesitant to even say hello because I don't want it to record my voice if I accidentally answer, you know? So
Yeah.
I just let everything that's unrecognized go to voicemail, frankly. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's where we put the humans to drive it. It's very robotic, and you kind of feel like it's disrespecting. To be honest, if you let your customers speak to AI, the real hollow is disrespecting a human, I would say.
Interesting. Yeah, my doctor's office has an AI agent answering the phone now, and I was yelling at it like, "Talk to human, talk to human,
Talk to human." Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So people powered by AI to be at our best.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So how is this changing the landscape for outbound sales then?
So things have changed a lot. There's a whole spectrum I have seen. Back then, pre-ChatGPT, full SDRs doing all these things like finding people, reaching out to the email, making the phone calls. And then this agentic space has come, and then there's a huge misconception around, no, you don't need an SDR, and I'll make everything for you. And that didn't deliver any outcomes for customers. And there's a huge misalignment and expectation mismatch, but from both vendors' perspective and from the buyer's perspective. They are getting, think like if I say, hey, Sophie, I have an AI chef, and your expectation think that, well, this chef really figured out what I really like, what I don't like, and it's going to actually find that ingredients and make the recipe and then serve the food on the dish. And I'm just going to come and eat, right? That's what you were thinking. But most of the AI vendors, when I say AI SDR or maybe AI that, AI this, it's just a marketing hype that I'm going to do whole thing. But in reality, you still need a human to use the tool. You still need a human to kind of perform certain tasks. And that's where the customers got switch aligned. So we have seen that those didn't deliver enough business outcomes. And then now, but the answer is not that go back to fully human. That is not even the answer either, because that's basically under leveraging what the technology can do. So we come with this hybrid workforce where agents and humans working together, managed by AI supervisor who oversees this thing. Imagine for a manager perspective, if a real manager gives the feedback, the human, you go in a more defensive mode. You might think that is my job at risk, is something I'm going to get paid, all those things. But if an AI is supervising me and giving the feedback, I don't get offended. That's what I mean? Because so when AI is saying, oh, Venki, you have done this thing, you should have done this way, and this is the reason. If AI says that to me with the data points, I'll take it positively. But if I say, but most of the humans, when they get it from their supervisor as a manager, they think this defensive mode, they're not liking me, I'm going to get fired, all of that. You see what I mean? So we built this supervisor, AI supervisor, which is basically kind of a manager, manage the agents and then the humans, and giving them the best and the best interest to the next level.
Wow. And then can you see, do you guys employ or have a marketplace or something with the people who are doing the calls? Like, so you have this bench of talent. Have you seen that their effectiveness is improving with the AI coaching?
Yeah, definitely a lot. So we have around 1,000 people who are in our marketplace who showed their interest that they wanted to do cold calling for the customers. And whenever we get a customer, we look for in our marketplace who is the best perfect caller for this. And we also do on-demand recruiting as well. So we have an AI recruiter which actually find the candidates and reach out to them. And they go through a training and enablement. For every customer, we actually create a bespoke training material so that the humans can actually go to the training with the voice agents and get the feedback. And you can go through as much of training, but then the real feedback comes when you're actually on the phone speaking to the customers So then we get this whole calls transcripts, and that goes to our AI ML pipeline, which understands what is this rep is talking to the prospect and then gives the feedback. So it's a constant feedback loop to the humans and as well as the agents as well. Oh, are you finding the right prospect? Are you finding the right company to go after? So it's a constant loop.
Wow, interesting. The nature of work is changing so much. Where do you think the role of SDR is going in the next few years?
I think I would say it's not just the roadmaps of SDR in general. If you take every role in the company, whether it's sales, marketing, engineer, you name it, every role, AI is actually redefining the role. So historically, a fixed role has a fixed responsibility 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then now what AI is saying is that it's challenging every role. It's not just SDR, to be honest. And it says that, hey, look, these responsibilities, I am better than you. I'm better than you, and I can scale more than what you can do. And it's taking some of the responsibilities, and then it's only left with the fewer responsibilities. And it's also creating net new responsibilities for each role. So I would say every role is going through this huge transformation. I would ask everyone, don't look at it as kind of a spoiler alert from when I look at the AI. See how much I could offload with an AI. Do come with the self-return, I would say. And then anything that you are doing, if AI can do, it's underutilization of your time. Don't do it, right? Why just embrace it and use it. And then whatever the AI is lagging it, which also goes through a good research mode. So try to use AI for everything. Then you're going to find the failure points. And those failure points is where your value addition to the table. I would urge everyone who is in every role actually do that retrospection.
Are there any classes of things that might become common new sets of responsibilities across engineering, law, sales? But are there any very typical failure points right now where we can add new duties for ourselves in Excel?
Yeah, so I think each role, when you actually try to use it, let's say I've seen with engineer, we use board, you have used cursor to launch a feature, to the literally from an idea to the production, you try to use it. And then you actually started saying, oh, we can't really fully use the AI because sometimes it actually creates the code which is not scalable, which is not maintainable. And sometimes we're stuck in a situation that whatever AI has produced, only AI can fix it. It becomes like impossible for a human to kind of trace it why it's not working. So I almost joke that back in the day, an engineer wondered about, I don't know why my code is not working. That is the statement that they used to say. Yeah. Now the engineers are making the statement, I don't know why the code is working.
Oh,
Because I was like, AI is given like thousands of lines of code. I don't know why it is even working. So it's very hard to debug. So you have to be very, very meticulous about at each phase, clean it up, modularize it, sometimes scrape it again, restart it. And I've seen this again, from an SDR standpoint, I've seen this in marketing standpoint. Every role, use it and break it and then learn it where it's actually breaking. And that's where you can see how to kind of make use of the AI.
Yeah. And this goes back to human in the loop for quality assurance being pretty critical for the foreseeable future.
Yep. Yeah. But you don't know, right, how the receiver would react to it. AI is very data-driven. It can say it has to say, but then how it can go into a different mode, it still need that human angle and deliver that. And humans connect to humans, not the bots. Right?
Wow. So, what do you think some of the biggest misconceptions are right now in industries about AI, whether it's applying it to sales or just your potential customers when they're evaluating the product? Where do you think that there's a disconnect for normal people who hear about AI and maybe how it's portrayed in the media or what people chatter about versus the reality of it?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I would say the biggest misconception, I would say, is everyone thinks that AI is replacing everything. right? There's a state of art, right? The state of art keeps changing at a rapid pace, no doubt about it. And AGI is not there, we are not there yet. There's still a lot of failure points for AI agents, whether it's LLMs, whether it's this. So there definitely the fact is that some of your responsibilities can be offloaded, but it's not 100% replacement yet. And business is also economic bias. I speak to a lot of CROs, CMOs, and they think that, hey, look how they solve 50 employee massive team. I want to get rid of the whole team and then deploy agents and then everything will be fine, right? It's not that there's no silver line bullet magic. I would say if you have a winning playbook, I think people need to know when to use AI, when to use human. There's a biggest misconception on that and how to use that. If you have a successful playbook that is working for your business and to deliver that, to kind of execute that playbook, earlier, maybe you may need to hire a bunch of people. Now that's where the AI can say, cool, I can repeat your steps. That could be one thing. And back then you have an idea, you want to do A/B testing, different strategies, different campaigns, but it's very resource intensive. Now with AI, you can do it more. So there is a balance of what can be offloaded, what cannot be offloaded. That's the biggest misconception. And then other misconception I would say is, I buy this AI solution and I don't have to do anything. And here is my bank account. You're going to do everything and you're going to make my revenue go up and I'll just sleep. And that's the biggest misconception out there from a buyer standpoint. I still encourage buyers be more vigilant. Whenever they speak to an agent, a vendor, ask them where it would fail, why it doesn't work in certain things. Ask them to kind of give them examples and see how you are actually mitigating it. But if somebody is saying magic gonna happen, that's the biggest lie, I would say.
It's not just a magic button that you can.
Yeah, it's not, yeah.
Okay. And what would you say to teams though that have been burned in the past by maybe bad magical experiences that didn't work well from other vendors? Is it worth trying again, maybe a different way?
Yeah. I would say I've seen a lot of customers come to us. Well, we tried some XYZ competitors of yours, it didn't work for us. And I've seen some customers also went from us and then went them. There always constant recycling happening. Everyone moved different vendors. I would say be open. You never know which vendor is so good at that. I've seen I use Lovable, I use Cursor, I use Bold. I pay my subscription to all of them. But then after I use a couple of months, I literally know which one is so good at what. And just because it didn't work, it's my expectation thing when I started using it. And which one is actually adding more value. And then you figure it out. So luckily, since we added the human element, we do not have that problem where most of the AI vendors have it. Because we know where it doesn't work. And we clearly say, this is where the human will come and it will do it. And we have a clear rationale on who should do what. And I would say that's pretty much it.
Okay. And you have this article in Forbes about you, why your AI marketing strategy needs a human touch. And that was just a couple weeks ago. And we'll link to that in the show notes along with OneShot. But why don't you give us a quick summary of what you shared for that article? And I'm also curious about how things have been going for your company since the article came out.
Yeah, perfect, cool. So we launched this whole marketplace of the agents and the humans. We were the only AI solution, ASTR, I would say 2023. We were the first early ASTRs out there. We have seen a tremendous growth and success in the early days. And then there is the realization aspect comes for the customers, what it can do. And even for the builders also, it's knowing the fact that what it cannot do. Mm-hmm. Then we were like, okay, cool. From a customer standpoint, they started saying, give me the business outcome. If you guys gonna give me the prospect meetings, give me the business outcome. We have seen a good opportunity there, customers willing to outsource the business outcomes. And we found that having this hybrid workforce, the agents and the humans working together is a good solution, and actually started delivering in results. And then we are able to deploy so quickly. And that's what the article was about. And now we have seen incredible demos booked up a lot. Like I say, hey, look, how can I deploy this thing called Colors? How can I do this AI? So there's a good interest out there.
Yeah.
And we are now going into more of a PLG mode as well. Like anyone can actually come and drop their website. And then the AI produces a nice detailed plan, what agents can do, what humans can do. It's going very well.
Oh, that's great. Okay. So literally if somebody goes to OneShot AI, they can simply get an on-demand plan for what that would look like in their business website.
Yeah.
Fun. How did you experiment with other product-led growth ideas? How did you decide on this one?
We tried a lot of other go-to-market activities like outbound and social. Social is one of our incredible channel. We make a lot of posts talking about our customer wins, talk about our industry insights. That was a good one. Then we also deploy our own product. We do a lot of dog fooding because we treat this all outbound agency. We use our own product to drive the business meetings using email, account calling, list building, things like that. And then now with all the media coverage outside came a little bit.
Could a founder use the tool to get VC meetings to raise investment?
Yeah, they could. I mean, technically, it's our platform is to, you have a goal, drop the business outcome, find the potential people, outreach them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They could technically do it. But the only thing I would say is when you are doing a code, you need to have some proof. You can't just get some random person I want to do reach out, because with all the automation, buyers, there's so much saturation going on. Remember how many cold emails that you received, how many cold emails I received. My attention span to cold email has become like 0.5 seconds. That's it. I just quickly glance the 30, 40 emails. I just listen, scan, or subject is not interested. I don't even open, right? Yeah. So you are competing against even though they were a genuine, super hard, but then remember from a buyer standpoint, you are sitting somewhere where there are 100 other emails also competing against you. So from a buyer standpoint, it's so hard to differentiate who is good, who is bad, right? It has become incredibly competitive. I would say build that trust, build that social proof. That's really adding a lot of value. And when we speak to prospects, they know, I know you guys, or you guys post that content. So they started to kind of attributing compounding efforts that we have done across channels.
But originally, I mean, you had this viral post on LinkedIn too about how one cold email changed your entire life.
Well, yeah.
Well, tell us about that one. I guess that was from before the days of email oversaturation, but tell us that story.
Yeah. So actually it's spoken. I graduated from the college in 2009. The recession, all this whole housing crisis.
Yeah.
I was in India at that time. I was trying to get into the tech. It's incredibly hard that time. Like just like now, the job market, it was even more worse than this in 2009. Right? And I was like, I am literally prospecting for job. I send shitload of cold emails, literally. And if I found somebody at some company, I don't care whether they are a pure, whether they are a CEO, whether they are CTO, I don't care. I literally send a lot of emails. Luckily, at that time, it was not saturated. My response rates were still high. And I basically wrote my journey, how I got into the investing, that LinkedIn post that I mentioned. Insanely, you know how many impressions I got? Like 4.5 million people watched that post. Wow. I've seen somebody from...
It got over like 6,000 reactions as well, hundreds of comments.
Yeah, and somebody sent me a nice message. It's a heart touching. I'm going to the same state. I almost gave up, right? Every day I'm coming. I open my inbox with the tears coming from my eyes. Is there any human can give me one opportunity? Yeah. Seriously, right? So that was good. That's how I got into it. It's so funny, right? I prospected for my job. Now I'm building a software for prospecting for getting the new clients. Yeah. I feel like it's my destiny to build a prospecting platform.
That's amazing. And look at how far you've come from those moments of struggle and like maybe being on the verge of giving up to now taking what you learned from that and paying it forward and creating this tool, having an EV1A, probably go on to continue to grow and scale, right? So,
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cool.
A lot of fun. Yeah.
It's amazing. And that doesn't come from nothing. That's from what? Persistence, determination, probably not having a plan B.
Yeah. Go all in. Go all in. Plan B is sometimes good, but sometimes it also pushes things in a different way.
Yeah.
I would say do your best efforts. That's it.
Yeah. Your plan B is your plan A.
Yeah. Making the plan your work.
Where do you think AI is going? You choose the time horizon. I don't know if it's 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. It's moving so fast, but what predictions can you make?
I would say there is, I hope this doesn't happen for the good of humanity. I would say there is the way it's happening, agents, multi-agents, AGI. It could happen in 2 ways. If something goes extreme wild, I'm giving you a wild scenario where every human will have their own agents. And if they wanted to converse each other, don't even talk to me, talk to my agent. So the guy who is talking is an agent, the guy who is listening is an agent, and they basically talk each other. And they tell the humans what they should be doing. It's basically my agent talking to your agent, and then that's it. And it is giving my thing. That's one wild scenario that could happen. The other good scenario could be human to human. Earlier, I am not able to interact with you much better because I have 100 things to do it. Maybe I'm not doing better research on you. Now with agents, I could do a PhD level research. Right? I mean, hiring somebody who had done the PhD, it's so hard. I research kind of people. Now it's easy, right? Every task that you're doing, I've done the deep research with ChatGPT and get different perspective and bounce with all of that. Now come back and I'm having a level-headed conversation with you. Let's say junior can have a level-headed conversation with a high senior in the industry by using AI. That is what uplifting the junior to the senior. You see what I mean? And then the senior can say, hey, what is the junior perspective? And then come back and then they can have a level-headed conversation using agents. So if people use the agents in a good manner, I would see this going to happen when everyone is assistant to them and then the humans try the whole conversation. And if it goes complete wild, it's not good for humanity. You speak to my agent, I speak to your agent, end of story.
I mean, that feels like a Matrix dystopian thing where we're completely disconnected. But I think we yearn for love and connection as humans. So hopefully this will all help us create a lot more abundance.
Yeah, exactly. I see this, everyone replace it. What people gonna do? Like a company like Salesforce, 80,000 employees, like 60,000 employees. What are they going to do? They're going to come on the road and see what they look for the work. And there's always a fundamental shift happen. The new roles get created. Yeah.
Wow. And then I think, in conclusion, what I would really love to know is for those early stage founders who maybe are thinking about getting an H-1B to work at their own startup or trying to figure out when is the right time to go for an EV1A. And it's that thing you mentioned, like there's that small voice and you have that thought and then you kind of can't shake it, but you don't know when the right time is. So I was just curious, what advice would you give to people in that situation, or what helped you when you were going through those really hard times that you mentioned? Just anything that could help maybe provide some inspiration or comfort or reassurance to people who are like wondering if they should take that leap.
Yeah. So I was like, so what's the purpose? It goes back to what is your strong urge, motivation, purpose. There's always the itch to start something, but if you don't really in it fully, it won't work. And I also think that, I got an idea, I have to quit the job, I have to do it. It won't even happen that way either. So you're going to burn the fingers. I would say, play it forward, challenge yourself. Is this idea is right? Am I really committed to it? I would just go full time on the part time. That's what I tell. Go full time on the part time. Can you really carve out 1 hour or maybe 2 hours every day working on that idea? Whatever the idea that you have that you wanted to study, okay, whether it's finding the co-founder, whether it's researching the industry things and finding the customers, the pain points, start looking into it. Those things you could do it no matter what, right? And along the way, the process itself will actually challenge you. Are you the right human to even equip to doing it, right? And once you do it for 6 months, 1 year, and it will give you credibility that, okay, I'm genuine in this, I'm my heart in it, right? Now you yourself is now commit to it. Now look for other person who can join your mission, right? You see what I mean? So they can build the team and get the co-founder. Then I would say figure it out whether it's an immigration journey that they have. Work with firms like yours, best firms, see there can help the H1B, EB1A. I would say don't let that stop your entrepreneurial journey, right? This is the core, and those things you could work it out. So do not stop. Oh, okay, I will only do it once I get my wonderful EB1A.
That's what so many people say to me one day. I'm like, if I had a magic wand and you could do anything, what would you do? Just pretend your immigration's solved. And
exactly.
So about it, but then they're like, well, I might, maybe start a company one day, but I need my green card first. I won't do it. Well, you could do this now.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to, and I love what you've said. Go full time on the part time. I've never heard that before. But
go full time on the part time.
It's great because it's like a SMART goal. It's doable. And every day you show up and you do that 1 hour, you're proving to yourself that you can keep your promise to yourself.
Yeah.
You're seeing where it goes.
Yeah. And people don't join you if they think that you are deeply passionate about it, right? And you don't get the conviction with an idea, right, one go, but you started working 1 hour every day, every day. You evolve your ideas so much, brainstorm it so much, right? Otherwise you won't work.
Yeah. The other thing that you brought to mind is this really great book by Stephen Pressfield, who's an author who writes about being creative. And he has this concept of the muse, and that if you want to be a writer, his book is called Put Your Ass Where Your Heart Wants to Be. And you basically just have to show up every day consistently to see if the muse will share these ideas that are out there with you if you're worthy of it. But the idea that the ideas are coming from somewhere, some realm, right? Some platonic ideal state. And whoever's there consistently showing up with the ability to listen and hear and receive, who proves themselves worthy, like more ideas will come to them. So it's a cool metaphor.
I see that. I say, when you put your blood, sweat, tears, heart into it, and consistently you're doing it, I'll say like all stars in the universe will come align and make it happen. That's it.
I love it. Venki, thank you so much for being on the podcast with me today. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you, Sophie. It was a great chat. I loved it. Very thoughtful questions. It's very emotional. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Everybody listening, check out OneShot.ai, the Forbes article, the viral LinkedIn article, all of Venki's details in the show notes. And please subscribe to this podcast. And you can also subscribe to the Alcorn Immigration Law newsletter in the show notes. That's where you can get more details on the latest about EB1A and H1B to work part-time concurrently at your startup, or to transfer to your startup fully as a bootstrapping solo founder. We're happy to help. But also share this. This is a really inspirational conversation with Venki, and I hope you share it with somebody who wishes they could be an entrepreneur and they don't know where to start. So thank you so much for listening.